Hello everybody. How's everybody doing today? My name is Shadow Rose, or Daria if you would prefer. And welcome back to my channel. We are doing a little bit of like a pick a pile type reading today. Last week I went over a little bit of like my story, and during the end of the video, I pulled a couple cards from the Morrigan, and the battle card came out, and I felt really called to do a reading for kind of focused around personal battles, struggles. I'm kind of leaving it a little bit open-ended, just to kind of see what kind of comes through. I did ask the Morrigan to come into this space as well, opening it up to any like spirit guides or anything that you may have as well. Just anyone who is here to give a message for your, for your highest good. So we can go ahead and get into it. I have two piles to pick today. I just have two crystals here. We have fluorite and labradorite. So my plan is we also will use two different decks as well. With the labradorite, we do have the Wisdom from the Dragon Realms. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me, just Tarot of the Dragons. The book is called Wisdom of the Dragon Realms. Tarot of the Dragons here. And then for the labradorite for pile 2, we have, oh my gosh, I'm blanking out on the name. Tarot of the Divine. So yeah, you can go ahead and pick your piles. We have pile 1 over here with the Tarot of the Dragons and the fluorite, and then pile 2 with the Tarot of the Divine and labradorite. So we can go ahead and get on into it. The timestamps are located below, and you can go ahead and click on that, and we'll get into your reading. All right, welcome in pile 1. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you so much for jumping in on the reading. So we can go ahead and get right into it. I didn't pre-shuffle or anything. I kind of wanted to do live shuffles. I really like doing live shuffles, so we're just gonna do that. But here for your pile, we do have the fluorite crystal. So for this crystal, this one, I always think of like focus with it, but it was really interesting because I was actually going to use the other deck for both of these piles, but I just kept being called to my new deck that I got. Thank you so much, Tanya, for sending it to me. I appreciate you. This, to me, it just looked like a dragon egg. So I was like, we'll do it for pile 1, and then we'll do the other one for pile 2. So fluorite kind of, for me, it definitely helps with focus. With the color green too, there's a little bit of like this, well, it is a healing color. So before we get into it, I am just going to see if I'm getting anything intuitively for you guys. And then I'll go ahead and shuffle and pull the cards. So based off of the interesting side note, I don't know if you guys heard that, but I actually like made this candle, and it was one of my first tries for making a candle. It is burning so fast, holy shit. And it just, I guess there was a little air bubble in it, so it just decided to just make a little noise. Anyway, don't, honestly, like, I know that's weird that the candle, like, was there and it started making weird noises and stuff, but I feel like it's also kind of a message here. Don't be so hard on yourself. Like, don't, I heard this healing battle will be imperfect, and that's okay. That's a part of what it is. Like, healing is never pretty. Like, both the act of like being in this state of like this literal battle And also the healing process. Both of those things are never pretty. They're never perfect. There's going to be cracks. There's going to be imperfections. There's going to be bubbles in the candle. like, um, and just because you see other people, it seems like all of their healing journeys are so easy and, oh, they got it all figured out because they know exactly where to go with that healing journey. I guarantee you they don't. Most of the time everyone's hanging on by a thread. like, and even if they're sharing their story and explaining how they are processing through this journey, like internally or externally, most of the time it's either way after they went through that portion and they were trying to figure out, now they're like, okay, I get it. Like 2020 is hindsight's 2020, or they're kind of bluffing a little bit. And I don't necessarily mean that in like a bad way, but this idea of, oh yeah, like this is what I was thinking, this is what I did, blah, 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 blah. And then they turn off the camera and suddenly they're like, I'm second guessing everything that I just said. like, people always want to look more put together than they are. And that's something that you have to think about. And also, I would encourage you to think about that when you're dealing with other people as well. It's okay to be vulnerable. I mean, please be safe though, and be careful about who you're vulnerable with. But if you feel like you can be vulnerable with this person, it might be a specific person. Again, this is a general reading, so take what resonates, leave the rest. But I think for some of you, it is a specific person. You're scared to be vulnerable with them, and you can be. I really feel like this is a friend specifically, not a romantic. Oh my goodness, I just sneezed. Whew. And not a romantic connection. It could be a romantic connection. But it's within a community, it feels like it could be multiple people as well, because I'm just thinking of like the connections with the like the idea of like me being called to this dragon tarot, and like dragons are sometimes seen as like being in clans and stuff like that, so that sort of community. Also, don't be afraid. Okay, I just heard don't be afraid to let the egg incubate. Whether this is with a healing journey or a decision, don't be afraid to let the egg incubate. I heard the time for battle is not now as well. That was from the Morrigan specifically. The egg thing might be, it wasn't from the Morrigan specifically, but the Morrigan said, now is not the time for battle. You've gone through it once and you'll go through it again. So it seems like this time for you is a time to like incubation in a way. Like take the time, rest, wait, sit, and wait for the egg to crack in a good way. Like, when you see that this protective shell that you have put around yourself starts to crack and starts to break, and this is a good thing, this is not a bad thing, that's when you know you need to move forward. And this protective shell has protected you for a while, and it's done its job. It needs a little bit of time just to still sit and still, I heard ruminate, don't know what that means, but give it a little bit more time. It's almost ready, but just to give it a little bit more time. So we can go ahead and pull the cards here. At the end of the reading, I might pull some cards from the Call of the Morrigan deck, but I also have another Oracle deck as well, that I might use, I might not. I'm not entirely sure, but I kind of wanted, instead of just straight up messages from the Morrigan, For this reading, I kind of wanted her to be here as almost like an advisor to the message. So this idea of the message will come through and then she will give you her advice on the situation. Because it feels like this is, at least for pile 1 for sure, it really feels like this is something that you kind of have to go through alone. Alone in the sense of your guides are there, but like I feel like a lot of them are kind of having a little bit of a hands-off moment with you, and you need to lean on yourself as well as whatever that connection is that I mentioned earlier. But you can also be vulnerable without necessarily leaning on those people, not necessarily like thinking that they're going to be your, like, don't use them as a crutch, essentially, is kind of what I'm feeling here. These two. Oh my gosh, these feathers. I got them from a friend in a cute little package, and they keep blowing around. Maybe we'll put them like up here. I think that would be cute. I think. There we go. All right. Interesting. Okay. I'm going to keep the bottom of the deck energy over here. So we'll get to the bottom of the deck energy. I'm going to kind of go back to it at the end. This, I'm kind of feeling like side note energy, if that makes sense. So like, yeah. So this is just overarching side note, extra vibes. But we'll go ahead and get into, I actually do feel like I need to use this. I need to pull this right away too. All right. I heard too, like, even though it's time to like sit and wait and do nothing, don't be afraid to move. Like, don't use it as a, this is a protection thing for you. Whatever, I'm using the egg metaphor again. This egg is a protective thing for you, but don't let it, I heard, don't let it become your prison. I feel like this is a lot of cards, but I'm just kind of winging it right now. I didn't really have a plan, so we'll just, interesting, okay, so we'll just see. So the first card you have is the Chariot reversed, and then we have the Devil reversed, the Sire of Cups, which is like the King of Cups, the Knight of Wands, the Eight of Pentacles. I just heard if you move now, things will be unfocused. Things will be, when the Chariot comes out reversed, we're talking about movement still, but it is unfocused. The horses don't know where to go, or they're trying to go 2 different ways, and so it's like there isn't a lot of control here. So if you try to move now, it will not be controlled. You will not get very far. So like I said with the incubation type of thing, let it sit for a little bit. Sit with it for a little bit longer, see how it goes. But it's very, very, very close. The Fool card being this overall arcing energy, there is a new beginning starting. There is this new birth. The Fool is card 0, you know, in the tarot and in the major arcana. These are big movements. These are big beginnings. don't worry. You will be loosened from the chains that you are like in right now. You may feel trapped. Like I said, this protective eggshell, you know, I keep going back to that egg vibes, and it's funny because it's also like dragons and stuff. But falling back on this egg metaphor again of like, if this, while this child, this okay, we're just gonna lean into it. While this baby dragon is in this egg, it is protected while it's growing. It is protected while it uh, gets strong enough to be able to move on its own, right? To be able to get up and walk. And also getting out of the egg is also a trial of itself for like in and of itself for the journey ahead, right? Think of like, if you've ever been told like, don't help a butterfly out of a cocoon, like that kind of thing. Don't help the baby dragon out of its egg, because getting out of its egg will give it the strength it needs to do what it needs to do once it's out and go on this journey it needs to go on. But don't worry, the devil reversed here. You are feeling really trapped. You are feeling almost like you're in a prison, but you need to let it incubate a little bit longer before you're able to make that like breakout, you know? Because like I said, with the chariot, if you try now, it's just it's gonna be chaotic. It's gonna be unfocused. Also, if you try to break out now, you won't have the community backing you. And that doesn't necessarily mean like a big community, but there's going to be some people who also won't be ready to be able to back you up as strongly as they would have prior. Or like later on, I should say. The King of Cups, though, coming in here, this could be someone that you can definitely lean on right now. This is this energy of, I really feel like this is the person I was mentioning before. The person you can be vulnerable, the person you can be vulnerable with, the person you can lean into. The Sire of Cups is like the King of Cups in this deck. So we have this energy of this mature, emotional person who is willing to be like, okay, take a moment, slow down. How are you feeling? How is this going? Like, what are we doing? And they're not going to be there to necessarily give you the step-by-step things of how to go about it, but they might almost be like this counselor type of energy or this therapist type of energy. They could be literally a counselor or a therapist, but I think that's for a small percentage of you. But for some of you, it is just this person of this energy of, there's somebody that you can trust, and you can trust on an emotional level, on a deep emotional level. They aren't going to get mad at you. They aren't going to thrash out at you because they're emotionally mature. They're emotionally mature enough to understand the difference between their thoughts and feelings and like the situation, which is really helpful here. And I think they're going to be a good counselor to talk to about this as well. Whatever this is, though, you feel like kind of going back into the battle, back into the struggle. You feel like it's this, like you're trapped, like with the Devil card. You feel like you have chains on your feet and you can't get out. That's literally the whole thing. The Knight of Wands here, this is all about passion. It's all about moving forward. You have the passion, you have the drive to move forward. That is never in question. That was never in question. You have the will, the desire to move forward, to break these chains, to break out. but right now it is protecting you. Eight of Pentacles is all about a craft, a personal craft. Sometimes it can talk about like your spiritual craft if you consider yourself a witch, or whatever you're working on, whatever you want to like. So you want to break free and start this new journey, right? But are you ready? Like I keep falling back on like this idea of, if you, and this doesn't necessarily have to be this, but if you like want to start your own business, for instance, do you have enough product in order to do that launch yet? That's what the Eight of Pentacles is talking about. It's not necessarily telling you if you're ready or not. I mean, we do have this energy of like, let it incubate, let it sit for a little bit longer. But this energy here is like, while you're sitting, while you're incubating, make product, essentially. Like, work on your craft. Make sure that you know your shit inside and out by the time you break out of that egg. Essentially, you're just a little baby dragon, just like reading all of its Kindle books in its egg. I don't know. I was gonna use the term library, but then you can't really have a library in an egg. But we're not going to talk about the not implications, but we're not going to talk about the logistics of having a Kindle in an egg. But essentially, this energy is like, you have a good idea, you know what you're doing, you're just not ready for it yet. So keep making that product, keep working at it, keep learning, keep moving forward in the sense of like, especially if it's anything material or anything that like, because Pentacles is associated with Earth, right? So this energy of like anything tangible. So if it's money, keep saving money. If it's product, keep making product. If it's learning, keep learning more new things before you make that jump. And it, like I said, it is coming. It is coming. It's so close. The Fool card here, this is the overarching energy. This is the energy that isn't really necessarily about anything specific, but it is this energy weaving itself within all of these other cards. For the Oracle cards, we have Protect the Wild and Green, Seek Your Answers Within, Follow the Moon, and Make the Sacrifice. So with Protect the Wild and Green, this could literally mean not just going out in nature, but like, especially if this journey is something where you want to be some sort of like justice warrior, or like go out and help literally plant trees or something like that. You can make babies. I don't know. I'm feeling like you don't have to be the warrior right away. You can make baby steps while you're working your way up to that warrior status. You can still literally protect the wild and green, even if you have to go to a corporate job and take your car every day, like, even though you are stuck in this cycle of humanity, you can still be an advocate and an ally for nature, right? So this idea of having I just heard you can have a foot in two worlds temporarily, is this energy. Usually we hear like, oh, you can't have a foot in two worlds, like, but right now you kind of do, because you're on your way out. So you can have this energy. You're in this liminal, like literally, you're in this liminal space right now, where your heart, your soul is already there, but realistically, you have to, you literally have to make sure everything's good before you take that big leap of faith. Because once you go, you can't go back. I mean, for some of you, I mean, it might be possible, but it's never going to be the same. So you want to make sure that leap is strong and your wings are strong enough to carry you. Like literally dragon metaphors. And that's kind of where Seek Your Answers Within talks about too, of if you're worried about making this jump, or if you're worried about staying, whatever this energy is, you already have the answer within yourself. You don't have to be here if you really don't want to. You can leave the reading right now and walk away, and you still have the answers within you. I would recommend maybe doing some meditation or something like that if you can. And it doesn't have to be like a straight up meditation, but like go for a walk, like literally go out in nature, go for a walk, let yourself think. Don't listen to music, don't listen to a podcast, don't talk to somebody else, just go and be with yourself for a little bit. Do a monotonous task, so you just continually are just like, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to start thinking about, you'll just naturally start thinking about everything. And if you feel like you're spiraling, let yourself spiral for a little bit. At some point, you have to be done. Like at some point, you've thought of every angle and every little bit. I mean, if you're having an anxiety or a panic attack, please like take a moment, ground yourself, maybe go hug a tree or something. And I don't mean that in like a mean way, like literally like hugging a tree will help ground yourself, and then you can start regulating a little bit, especially if you're already outside. In speaking of regulation and like regulating, follow the moon, literally follow the moon cycles. If you are unsure of timing right now, for when you want to make that leap, like if you need to give yourself a deadline for this, go with the cycles of the moon, figure it out. New moons are great for new beginnings. Full moons are great for illuminating, like within, as well as like releasing energy. So like if you need to illuminate within, or like you need to burst energy out, it kind of depends on what sign it's in too. So you can kind of look at that. I would recommend looking up some, like what the next like new moon and full moon is for you, because I'm leaving this reading timeless, so I'm not putting any like any like timing things with this. So just see when the next like starting a new venture, a new moon is a really good time for that. And if you feel like you can't get this thing done before the next new moon, go to the next one, figure it out. Or if you look at like the sign of the new moon and I'm like, oh, that doesn't really sound like what I want to do. Like, for instance, if you are wanting to start something and you definitely want to stay away from the spotlight and you just kind of want to vibe and chill, Leo new moon is not going to be a great time because Leo is all about the spotlight. So you can just think about the energy of every sign with the new and full moon and kind of go from there. The last card is Make the Sacrifice, though. And this card is saying that no matter what, there will be consequences. And this is definitely from the Morrigan, I feel, because she literally has said this to me before, of no matter what choice you choose, whether it's to stay or to go, whether it's to stay for 3-4 months or to go in 3-4 months, like, there will be sacrifices. There will be things that you will be giving up. For instance, if it's like staying at your job versus like going to a new job. Staying at your job is stable. It's comfortable, but it might not be the best place maybe emotionally for you. In the next place, it is a risk. Like you could run into not so great people emotionally for you, or you could run into the perfect place. But it's also like, you're also, that time period of like where you like are waiting for your first paycheck and you're always like scrapped for cash. Like there is that little bit of like, I'm using this in like metaphors and like energy things. Like you're going to have a little bit of time where you will be like, quote, like strapped for cash, whatever that is. There's going to be a lean time for you during this transition period. but you need to figure out like what are you willing to sacrifice and what you are not willing to sacrifice, and figure it out and make a choice from there. So we'll go ahead and pull some cards from the Call of the Morrigan Oracle deck. We'll see if she has any other thoughts or advice for us moving forward with this. I'm going to be honest, this one resonated pretty hard with me. And I was really trying to be very like a lot more open and vague about it, but I think this is something that she really wanted me to hear. All right, so we're just going to pull 3 cards from, oh my goodness, from the Morrigan. So we have Nevin, Odrus, pull this one, and Oath. So I'm just gonna, here, let's do this. I do kind of at least want to take a peek at the book for these. Because, well, part of it is I'm still kind of learning some of the oracle decks, or oracle cards out of it. Yeah, we'll go ahead and jump into it. All right. So, Nevin is keywords are fury, righteous anger, and seen through lies. I just heard from the Morrigan, your anger is valid. Your frustration is so valid. Where you are now is not where you're supposed to be. While Nevin, I'm just going to read the divinatory meanings. While Nevin may seem daunting, she is pure, undiluted, divine rage. She is not hateful or destructive for its own sake. Instead, she is the divine rage we feel when we are wronged, when injustice is done to us or others. Her fury is a fire that moves her to action, to not be passive, to scream and rage and make sure her voice is heard. She sees through the lies of others. Her rage cuts through illusions and ill intentions to see the true heart of the matter. Nevin asks us to raise our voices, to not be meek, but instead stand up for ourselves. Speak your truth and do not let the falsehood of others fool you. It may be time to cut ties with untrustworthy people or those who don't have your best interests at heart. Lies and betrayals may play a part in the situation at hand. There can be a thin line between righteous rage and destructive chaos. Nevin challenges us not to let our anger get the better of us. Use it to inspire action that will better your and others' lives. She also warns us that letting our anger get out of control will lead us to madness. Her battle cry inflicts upon other enemies. She also warns us that letting our anger get out of control will lead to the madness her battle cry inflicts upon upon her enemies, all-consuming and destructive. So I feel like what she's saying too is like kind of going back to the Chariot card of like, if you try to move too quick too soon, things will be really chaotic. You can use your anger, you can use your frustration to your advantage. I just heard her say, yeah, like don't be meek whenever you make this transition, because you might get something out of being vocal about frustrations and being vocal. Like, I'm going to go back to the job thing of like, you may be like, hey, I will leave unless this gets done. And then who knows, it might get done and you might leave anyway. Or you might be like, because sometimes like when, and this is just really specific, but an example, like when you are like, I'm going to put my 2 weeks in, I'm going to leave. And they're like, oh, no, we need people, don't leave. Like, we'll give you a raise, or like, we'll do this for you, or something like that. You might get something out of it. So voice your frustrations before you are ready to like actually make, like do, like essentially just kind of threaten a little bit is what the Morrigan is saying. And again, you don't have to do this. This is her advice on the situation. Honestly, you don't have to do any of the stuff that I say in the readings. These are just for you to introspect and think about stuff. The second card here is Odress, which this is a story here in Irish lore, and it's very interesting. Where? All right. So I'm going to read this whole one because I feel like telling the entire story will be really good. So keywords are stubbornness, rethinking your current course of action. Here, Odress rests from her pursuit of the Morrigan. In her exhaustion, she has fallen asleep. Above her, the Morrigan, in the form of a phantom, sings and weaves spells, turning her into the waters of a river. The story of Odress can be found in the Dinchenchas. I know I'm fully butchering that because this is Irish. A collection of stories explaining the lore of places of Ireland. While watching her cattle herds, Odress had fallen asleep. It was then that the Morrigan appeared and took a bull from her herd, leading it to her cave at Cruachan. Odress pursues, intending to get her cow back from the Morrigan. As she follows the goddess to Cruachan, she becomes weary and falls asleep. It is then that the Morrigan comes to her and sings spells of power over her, transforming her into a small stream that bears her name. In her hair are branches of the hawthorn, a tree closely associated with the Morrigan. The ogham connected to the hawthorn is huath, which means terror, a word mentioned repetitively in Odress's story. It is time to rethink your current situation. Are you thinking rationally, or letting your emotions rule your actions? Your stubbornness can lead to undesired consequences and the loss of something precious to you. Accept your losses with grace and move forward. Learn to change as you move forward. Odress was rigid and could not accept the situation, and as a consequence, the Morrigan transformed her. You can struggle against this situation, or you can accept it and transform it into something that benefits you. Don't repeat your mistakes. Oh, that was a call out for me. It's fine. But this, I think, in the sense of this, is things are going to change regardless. Regardless what you do, things will change. But how they will change is up to you. Will you go with the flow and go with the flow of, I guess, like divine timing? Or will you force something to happen before its due time? Same with the egg. If you crack open an egg, there's a good chance that that baby dragon or that animal will not live. Or if it does, it's going to be very premature and it's going to have a lot harder of a time getting stronger. You can't help a butterfly out of its cocoon. You can't help an animal out of its egg, or it will not be strong enough to move forward and do what it wants to do, which is live. And I really think that is what she is saying, like, especially if you've already decided to go ahead and start this thing, like, even like quicker than you thought. She's like recommending, like, just wait. Like, I heard if you just wait, she says if you just wait, it will happen sooner than you think. And the last card here is Oath. And I'm just going to say right now, if you have made any promises to anyone, whether that's someone in your life or maybe a deity, this is a reminder of that. Keywords: promises kept, vows. The Morrigan stands in a circle of stones, a sacred place, holding her sword out in challenge. A flock of ravens flies behind her, calling out. On her skin are tattooed spirals and the word oath in Ogham, a reminder of promises. In the cattle raid of Cooley, Fergus swears he will have revenge for wrongs done to him. He makes his oath to the point of his sword, which he calls the halidom of Macha. The word for halidom, mind, can also mean blade or an oath. Like Fergus, the Morrigan challenges you to make your oath on the point of her sword. Her sword points to your heart. She challenges you to make your oath and keep the words you speak. The gods are always true to their word. Are you? Oath can represent mundane promises you have made as well as the oath we offer to the gods. It represents promises kept and the sacredness of the promises made between devotee and deity. We are only as good as our word. A person's reputation was everything in early cultures. If you did not keep your word, everyone would know, and this type of reputation would cost you dearly. Trust between people and the spirits we have relationships with is based on each party delivering what they have promised. When oath appears, think of your obligations and promises to others. Are you being true to your word? Depending on the cards oath is drawn with, it can also represent the promises of others that may or may not have been kept. So this is definitely about something that you have promised. Again, it can be as small as promising someone in your life that you would do something or not do something. It could be as big as making a promise or an oath with the deity that you haven't kept or need to continue to keep. Whatever this is, it does have something to do with this whole transition. And the Morrigan is reminding you of that, whether that was an oath with her or somebody else. She's challenging you to keep it. And I heard just because you're keeping an oath doesn't mean that you... What is it? With Odris being right before oath too, there's this energy of just because you are keeping an oath doesn't mean that you have to be rigid with it. And I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, keep your oath, but there's a little bit of like flow within that oath. I don't want to say loopholes, that is not what I mean. But there is something here that the Morrigan is like, keep your oath and things will turn out better. Wait until due time. But also, your feelings and what you are feeling are very valid right now. But this new beginning is coming. Will it be... I literally just heard, will you walk on the rocks or will you walk on the path? And the path weaves itself through the mountains. Do you want to go up a mountain by yourself or do you want to follow the path? It's a little bit easier, it takes a little bit longer, but you're still going to get there and you're going to make sure that you get to the place that you need to get to. If you follow the rocks and follow the path of the mountain, like not the path of the mountain, but if you follow the mountain and go to the peak and then go back down, it's going to be so much harder for you, and there's no guarantee you'll end up at your destination. So yeah, that is your reading group number 1. Thank you so much for popping by and reading or like listening to this reading. I really appreciate you and thank you so much. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, the like button, comment if you'd like. if you made it this far into the reading, why don't we go ahead and let's do like a sword or a dagger. Isn't there like a little dagger emoji? Put a little dagger emoji. I think last time I also used a dagger emoji, but when the Morrigan sometimes comes through, we're just gonna bring in some sword energy. So yeah, do a dagger emoji, and if you feel comfortable explaining your situation, or at least a little bit of it, feel free. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, night, or wherever you are. I appreciate each and every one of you stopping by, and feel free to say hi in the comments. I read every single one. um, but yeah, I will catch you guys later, and yeah, and be sure to drink some water, eat some food, and take care of yourself, because it is so, so, so very important. All right, bye. Hello, hello, my pile two. Thank you so much for stopping by and picking the reading, I guess. But I really appreciate you, and I'm so happy that you guys are here. And yeah, so let's get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and free shuffle the tarot deck today. But in the meantime, well, not just necessarily in the meantime, but your crystal here was labradorite. This crystal is, I always see it as like connecting with the divine, connections with spirit guides. Some people see it as just connections with like angels and stuff like that, if you are kind of lean that way. But honestly, the biggest thing with labradorite is just communication with higher powers. So yeah, before I go ahead and shuffle, I'm going to see if there's anything intuitive that kind of comes through. I did ask the Morrigan to come into this space while I did this reading. I asked her prior to the reading, but I'm really just asking for her advice. So we're going to pull the cards, we're going to see where we're at, and then at the end we're going to see kind of what her thoughts are on the situation. So I feel like you're really struggling with like like literally like communication with spirit. um Honestly, especially like if you work with a specific deity or a specific spirit guide or anything, you feel like for some reason they've like gone dark. They're You feel like you're not getting a lot of signs. You're feeling like are they even there? Do they even care? Kind of ideas. Because we also, like with the crystal here, we have communications with the divine. This is literally the tarot of the divine. Like there is something here where like specifically communication with entity, deity, God, spirit, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, you feel like there's some sort of block here. You feel like there is some sort of wall and you can't find the door. And that's like what you're struggling with. It's more internal, less external. So we can go ahead and pull the cards and see kind of what pops up. Oh no, my little feather. Also, it's funny, I didn't mention this in the last reading, but like I felt really called to like pull these feathers. A friend of mine sent me the feathers in a little care package, so thank you, Precious. But for them, I felt like it was more of like that freedom idea. But for you guys, I feel like it literally is like almost like, I think he said, like Prontius said, that these were like pigeon feathers. And so like this idea of having like communication, so like like the pigeons or the communication birds that people used for messages, like before everything, before technology. I just heard too that you need to train yourself just like the birds need to get trained. So you, just like anything else, intuition, um, hearing deity, hearing guides, it is a muscle. You need to use it um, in order to like, you need to use it more in order to hear it better, I guess. What I use it, I don't know. I don't know how to word that, but essentially, like, if you never run every day, how the heck are you supposed to like run like a marathon? Like this, you can't expect to. Ooh, there's a little frustration here. You can't expect to just hear sentences and words coming out of the ether when you're not used to it. Signs can come through, but like, I just heard the signs are coming through, you're not noticing them. I apologize. Whoever is here is, I mean, the Morrigan is definitely here, but some of the frustration is coming from her, but it's not, it's almost like for some of you it is her, and for others of you it's literally like someone else that she's voicing for. I'm doing bottom of the deck energy. This, at least for today's reading, is just going to be an overarching energy, as I just realized I think I pulled one more card in the last set. Okay, well, we'll go with this, and if I need to pull more, I will. But yes, bottom of the deck energy is, I'm using it like an overall card. So keep in mind with this card, it's going to be like weaving itself throughout the rest of the reading. So we have the Two of Cups, or excuse me, the Two of Coins reversed. So there is this this imbalance here. Because Two of Coins can sometimes talk about priorities as well. And what I'm feeling is not necessarily your priorities are not in the wrong place, but they're in the wrong place for what you're trying to achieve. And again, it's not in the wrong space, it's just different priorities. So, like this idea of, if you want to travel a lot and you're frustrated because you're not traveling a lot, but you need to take care of your family and you know that's a priority for you, and you need to like stay in a job for however long, or like have a stable like 9 to 5 job, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to put food on the table for your family. That's a little bit of a drastic explanation. Less drastic, I guess, would be okay, this is something I do. I have so many books, right? I have tons of books, but I don't make reading a priority. I do other things. And that necessarily isn't wrong, but then I'm not going to get through my books. So, are you making spirituality a priority? Are you making daily tarot readings, or going out and sitting outside, listening? Are you, someone's hit the nail on the head with that one. Are you listening? Truly listening? Are you sitting in silence? And it doesn't have to be meditation, but if that works, then go for it. It can be going for walks. It can be not always having noise. I heard literally stop having noise in your ears is what, I'm feeling a little masculine energy. So I don't know if this is like guides. I feel it's just a bunch of different culminations of guides and spirits and deities. And the masculine energy is coming through because they're a little frustrated. So this is a culmination of like, whoever picked this pile, like you have a culmination of you might be working with multiple entities or spirits or deities. or it's just the combination of like the collective energy. There's a little bit of this collective frustration. I also heard, why are you worrying so much? We're here. You need to calm down. Like, they're like a little frustrated. But this also, I want to preface and take a step back and kind of step away from their energy for a second. They also need to understand that you're human. So you are going to have different priorities. I just heard, then stop asking us for all of these signs and complaining that we're not talking to you. Whoever this is, I think there's like one specific, like, or a very small percentage of you whoever we're talking with is very frustrated because you're asking for all of these things, but you don't want to work for it. You don't want to like put the effort in, which again is fine. Like I really want to like preface this with I am not shaming you at all. And I feel like your guides aren't really either. They're frustrated, but like they're not like shaming you for this. They're just saying like, hey, you also need to understand you what's like a term, like you can't ask for ice cream without first getting milk from the cow, right? So like you need to get milk from the cow in order to make ice cream, to have that sweet treat. So you're asking for this thing that will happen, but you need to put work in for it. So, and if you're already like trying to, or if you're frustrated about that, start at the basics. Start at like literally go to like witchy 101 things or whatever. Like go to the basics and yeah, go to the basics. And I haven't even like read the cards yet. They were like really loud. Holy cow. Okay. Okay, I kept saying the Two of Cups. I thought this was the Two of Cups. Okay. That's really interesting. Oh, Oh, the Lovers. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. Wow. I'll go ahead and pull these cards too, because I pulled these first. I might pull an extra one of these cards then, or maybe, I don't know. I think I pulled 5 cards for the last group. So, but I think you guys might just have 4 cards. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Oh my goodness. What did I just say? What did I just say? I said, like, you need to listen, and we have observe in silence. Oh my goodness. Another love card. So your guides care about you a lot, and that's why they're being so, like, forward with you. Is because they do love you, and they do want the best for you. That's not right. When I pulled the card, I was like unsure about it. And then when I saw it, I was like, that's not. Oh my god, my hands are so tiny. It's hard to shuffle any of these cards. I also am trying not to shuffle too much so I don't like spray the folder again. Okay. Not the folder. What am I saying? Spray the folder again. I don't even have a folder. If you guys have a folder, go in it. I don't know. That was weird. Spray the folder. If that means something to anyone, please, please, please write in the comments, because I want to know what the heck I just said. That was crazy. Okay. Anyway, so we have the Page of Cups reversed, the Two of Cups reversed, the Knight of Swords reversed, the Lovers upright, and then we'll go into the Oracle cards here in a second. So don't be too freaked out. Reversals aren't necessarily all that bad. Like I said, though, there is a little bit of frustration coming through here, and that might be and a lot of blockages. So I think that's why there's a lot of like reversals coming out, or internal, which is also an interpretation I use for reversals. So with the Page of Cups reversed, so the pages sometimes can talk about messages, and cups can talk about spirituality because it's associated with like that water element. Um, I literally just heard you're not getting the messages, which is, we already prefaced this, we already talked about it. And with a white rabbit here too, like white animals can also symbolize spirituality as well. And he's not even, his eyes are excuse me, but his eyes are fucking closed. Like you're not seeing the white rabbit because your eyes are closed. And if you're frustrated, what do you need to do to figure this out? Do you need to take 5-10 minutes a day every morning or every night and pull a couple cards and sit in silence? Like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. This is really like almost frustrating energy, but I almost said, is it that hard? So whatever this is, like, your guides are being very forward with you and very frustrated. They're not going to leave you though. I want to like really, really put that down. They're not going to leave you. But you need to put in the work. And if you put in the work, you will see results. You will start to hear them. You will start to have this back and forth energy, this communication energy that literally like labradorite, like pigeon feathers, like it's all here. The Two of Cups reversed. This is an imbalance within emotional relationships, and cups can also sometimes talk about spirituality as well, like I said. There is an imbalance here. Two of coins, Two of Cups. There's something not working here for what you want. Figure it out. And that may be a little bit harsh, but like that's this energy of what these guides are saying. I just heard you have resources. Figure it out. Ask for help if you need it. Don't be afraid to be like, hey, I don't know how to do this. But also take accountability and take responsibility for what you are and are not doing. King of Swords, this is really mature energy. Usually this comes across as very mature, logical, truth-telling energy. With it being reversed, I literally feel like a part of it is just they're being really blunt with the truth. There still is this mature energy of like, they know that you are mature enough to hear this type of energy, this type of bluntness. And so they're going to slap you in the face with it. I don't know how accurate this is, I'm going to be honest, but I just heard the griffin is an animal of honor. Stick to your honor. Stick to what you had said that you were going to do. Again, this is very masculine energy. I don't know who this is for you, whether it's a guide, ancestor, whatever, but they are challenging you in the best way, actually, like in a very sweet way, like not sweet as in like, I'm gonna sugarcoat things, but like sweet as in like, I care for you so much. That is why I'm being this blunt. That's why I'm not leaving and I'm sticking with it. And I'm like yelling at you through this video. Because they love you so much. You have the Lover's card here too. The Two of Cups is also a card about love. These guides love you. That is why they are pushing you. And I think for some of you, that is why they went dark, because you were not listening to them. Think of like when you go no contact with like a parent or something, or like a family member. It's because they're not listening to you. They're not listening, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't, like, they don't have to agree with you, but most of the time when we go no contact, there hasn't been any sort of movement forward in the relationship. There hasn't been any sort of I see you, you see me. So I would encourage you, sit in some quiet time. Actually, that's a great segue into the oracle cards. We have observe in silence, right? So this energy of literally sitting in silence. No music, no phone, no TV on in the background, no family members around, no partners around, just you and your guides. And if you can go out in nature, they would highly encourage that. Because how are you supposed to hear if you're not listening? How are you supposed to understand these messages if you constantly have buzzing in your ears, is what they're saying? Love without condition. They love you. These actually, honestly, I would not be surprised if a lot of this is like ancestor energy, because there's such a love here. There's such a sense of like tough love, you know, like the family type of love where they're like, we're gonna let you fall a little bit and then help you back up. But like, we're gonna let you hit the ground. But once you hit the ground and you look up at us and actually look at us and see us, then we'll reach out a hand and help you up. Yeah, the next card is literally be without malice. They are not angry at you. They're not going to leave you. But they need you to learn this lesson. They need you to hear. They need this to be a two-way telephone call, not just somebody spurting, asking for, literally not somebody sitting here and asking for help when they don't give anything in return. You can give offerings. You can give, honestly, in my opinion, your time can be some of the biggest, like, best offerings that you can give to spirit. Think about this. They have infinite time, yes, but we have limited time. So giving them our time can be can be almost the biggest commodity. We have limited time. We have about 100 years on this earth, which seems like a lot, but is not in the grand scheme of things at all. We can take a day. We can take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to communicate with them, to interact with them, because they want that 5 minutes. They want that 10 minutes. They're not asking for a whole week. You don't have to go on a retreat. I mean, you can. That would be great. Probably shock your system into regulating a little bit. But they want to hear you. Literally, the next card is share your thoughts. They want to hear about your problems. They want you to talk with them. But they also need... They're not a genie, you know? And this is all about battles and struggles. Kind of going back to the Morrigan, your other guides kind of hijacked the entire reading, which is fine. Like, I'm here for it. I wanted this to be a separate reading before we got into these. The battle here is the struggle of not listening, the struggle of not hearing. And I don't want to sit here and be like, it is entirely your fault. It's technically not, if we're going to be honest. Because we all have lives. We're all human. It's hard to fit stuff into our day, especially when we're getting bombarded by everything. By capitalism and advertisements. And we have to take the kids to school. And we have to, like, do this and do that and go to work. So keep in mind, this is going to be a view from the Morrigan. So you can entirely take, the Morrigan is actually, yes, she is saying that. She's like, if you would like to not hear messages from her, you can stop the reading here. Which is not what happened in pile 1, actually. But this one, she is giving you permission that if you don't want to hear what she has to say, you can stop the reading here and move forward. Or, like, move forward with your life. But if you would like to hear her words, her advice, you can definitely stay. Like, please. And because of that, I'm not going to do my closing thing right now. So I am going to read from the book on these as well, but I kind of wanted to just look at this first. So we have the wolf here. This is all about community. This, to me, wolves are very, like, honestly, I would not be surprised if they're ancestors for you. They could even be ancestors, like, somehow tied to a wolf somehow. I'm not saying that they are native ancestors, but they could be, like, old ancestors. But they are a community, they are a family. I think they are ancestors for you, or is who's kind of coming through. Then we have the consequences card. I literally am just hearing what I said before of, like, in order to have the ice cream, you need to have the milk, right? Consequences aren't necessarily bad. They can be good too. But you need to put the hard work in. You need to have that initial thing in order to have a consequence, right? And then the eel is this truth idea, right? This, I mean, the sword is here too, but we're just going to go ahead and read. We'll see what they have to say, and then I'll continue. 27. All right. So courage, loyalty, connections. The alpha female wolf stands tall upon the hill, the pack following her lead as they emerge into the night from the winter wood. She is leading the pack to safer ground during the winter. The night is clear and illuminated by the full moon hanging low in the sky. Side note, just kidding, that's the new moon. The new moon is on the 26th of this month, May, if you're watching this video right away, which is the 27 is the day after. So I just felt like I needed to call attention to that. Crow flies above. The wolf's deep blue eyes look straight into you, seeing who you truly are inside. Spirals of the energy of all living beings are visible on her fur, on her forehead, and the land itself. This pack, this community, this land are connected, their energies flowing constantly between them, each sustaining the other. In the Irish language, one of the words for wolf is mactir, son of the land. Wolves were once prolific in the Irish countryside, and there are several Irish surnames and place names that have been derived from the many words for wolf. Within the lore, the Morrigan often takes the shape of a wolf in addition to other animals. That's interesting because she also takes the shape of an eel. I just want to call attention to that. In the cattle raid of Cooley, after being insulted by Cuchulainn, the Morrigan threatens to thwart his efforts in battle by coming at him in animal forms, including a gray she-wolf. In these animal forms, she injures the hero, and he, in turn, deals her a wound. That's kind of like what I was saying, too, of, like, it's a give and take, right? You're not just hurting, like, you're hurting yourself and them by not just putting in the effort and having this communication. Wolves are devoted and loyal to their packs. They form tight-knit communities that can take on large prey successfully, where a single wolf alone would fail. When wolf appears, it's time to think about your own community. Do you feel the pull of community, a need for connection and social order? Are you aware of the blessings and connections in front of you, or do you wish to push back at what is being offered? Where in your life have you tried to do things alone instead of asking for aid? Wolf speaks of the loyalty of kinship and the strength that can be found in community. Wolf reminds us that we are not alone. As the son of the land, the wolf also reminds us to see the connections between us, the land, and all things. So again, like finding connection, finding community. I think also if you are very frustrated on like, well, what do I do in order to like are there rituals? Are there other things that I can do? Talk to people around you. Talk to like a community that you're a part of. Especially if it's like a witchy community or something, or if you have ties to your ancestors, like if you know who your ancestors are, and maybe like talk to your family or something like that, like and see if there's like any way to get to know some of your ancestors. And now also I want to note as well, for ancestors, it doesn't always mean your blood relation ancestors. You can have ancestors that are a part of like whatever like job that you follow or a career that you follow or a passion you have. Like if you're an artist, you can call upon the ancestors that are artists, or you can get really specific to like if you're a sculptor, you can be like, okay, I'm going to call upon the ancestors of like sculpting or whatever. Most, if not all of them, will usually come to your aid. So they might not have as much like here the energy I'm feeling is very familial, especially like with the wolf pack and all the love coming through. But I'm just bringing it out there. And just because they're not related to you by blood also doesn't mean that they don't have a familial bond with you. Because also your spirit, your soul could also have been from like that community that is reaching out to you as well. All right. So the next card is consequences. Broken oaths, cursing, misfortune. I'm going to just read the divinatory one for this one because I feel like this is less about the story. It does talk about a story of Bive, who is an aspect of the Morrigan, essentially cursing a man who had broken his geish or oath or like vow. And then his hostel burns down and he loses his life. Now that's really drastic. That's kind of why I feel like I need to like move on from that, because it's not necessarily about the bad consequences here. It is about a little bit more of like a neutral, like more of a neutral energy, more than good or bad for consequences. So what promises have you broken to yourself or others? Are you being truthful to yourself or others? When this card appears, it's time to be authentic and own up to your own flaws and mistakes. The consequences of your actions cannot be avoided. They will come back to haunt you if you do not acknowledge and own them. This card can represent misfortune or cross circumstances in relation to the situation. It can also signify oaths or vows that have been broken. I guess it's more of a question of like, what have you promised to do that you have not done? Like, why are these ancestors, these spirit guides, so frustrated with you? I went right past the yo. The next card is the eel card, and the keywords are challenge, strife, and obstacles. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and read this. Taking the form of an eel, the Morrigan coiled around Cuchulainn in the cattle raid of Cooley, hindering him in battle. Remember, we had talked about that in the wolf card as well. Here, the eel coils around a shining sword representing the hero. It twists and bends the metal, blocking all action. There are tales of monstrous eels in Irish myth. Eels were often compared to pesht, monstrous serpents or worms. Many rivers were said to be dug out by the battles between serpents and the heroes. The Olafest in County Clare was said to have grown monstrous, even crawling out of the water to feast on flesh in graveyards. In the siege of Knocklong, because I can't say the Irish name for it, the power of an eel, the power of an eel was summoned by a druid to create a curse. The sword stands half in the water and half out. Behind it, the sun sets. This is a liminal space where land, sea, and sky meet. Time is held still, and the challenge you face may be overcome, or it can stop you in your tracks. And this is like what I was saying in the beginning too, of like you feel this blockage. Like it is a full-on blockage. It's either going to stop you from moving forward or you're going to overcome it. Like those are your options. The sunset represents the ending of something. Move forward, untangle yourself, and rise into a new day. Or you will stand still and let the challenge, or will you stand still and let the challenge you face overcome you? The choice is yours. Literally what I just said. And two, I think a part of this as well, at least what the Morrigan is saying, is find your community, connect with your community, understand that actions have consequences, and lack of action also has consequences, both good and bad. Like you're not going to hear your ancestors, your guides, if you don't put in this work, right? But at the end though, like she is telling you that you can get yourself out of this. You can hear them. You can move forward with them. And I just keep being drawn to like that idea of like sunset that the card was talking about. This could also be kind of seen as a little bit of like sunrise too, but with the colors being so drastic, I feel like this is more of like a sunset. But I think that's kind of where you're at in your life right now. Like the sun is setting on something. And I think that's why you're getting frustrated, is because you need guidance for the next era of your life. And there's only silence. But sit in that silence. Listen. And you will hear them. They are very, very, very loud. Like, oh my God. So I hope this reading helped. That is your reading. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you. And if you got this far in the reading, why don't you put a heart? And we will just put a little heart emoji down in the comments, and feel free to talk about your experience with this if you'd like. If you have any questions on possible ways to communicate with ancestors or guides or anything, definitely ask. I'd be more than happy to answer as best as I can. I forgot to say this in the last reading. My readings, my private, like personal readings are open. I will have the link down in the description if you want to dive further into the specifics of what's going on here. We definitely can. And I would love to meet you. And like I said, my personal readings are open. But other than that, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful night, day, wherever you are, whatever time it is. And thank you again so much for stopping by, and feel free to subscribe, like, all that jazz. And I will catch you guys later. So as always, what do I say first? Drink some water, eat some yummy food, and definitely take care of yourself because it is very, very important. All right, guys, have a good day. Bye.